Okay, well, this is for class 5560, ESL bilingual class. And we are making a video for our assignment number 11. Correct?
Week 11.
Week 11.
Yes.
Okay. And it's giving solutions to the little boy who was born in the U.S. He's 6 years old, but his family is from Mexico, and he's not doing very well with his Spanish. So we're coming up with some solutions to figure out what might be going on with him. Oh, and my name's Lynette Witzel, and this is
Hannah Bain. Yeah, he said Spanish. He has problems with English, right? That's what.
I thought it was both. Where it says his Spanish
limited
teacher.
English proficient at the intermediate level. Spanish language dominant. Live with both parents. So, term that using Spanish did not help his development of English and to address his learning disability.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, he could have trouble with Spanish, I guess.
Well, he may not have his form of his bolding blocks together. And that's why he's having trouble translating to English.
Right.
Yeah. Using, okay.
So it could be a problem with both English and Spanish, depending on what an assessment.
And so some of the solutions that we've come up with, first off, we don't have a whole lot of background on him. So we're going to have to go and talk to his kindergarten teacher or find out what kind of work he did in kindergarten. And then we have to identify what his struggles with English are.
Mm-hmm. So you don't want to misidentify his problems as you don't want to make him seem like he has a learning disability if he doesn't actually have a learning disability. If he just is struggling maybe with the learning environment that he's in. You know, it would be important to assess where he's struggling. Does he struggle with his Spanish speaking and in reading and writing when he's using Spanish? Is it reading and writing in English? You know, what parts of the different languages does he struggle with? I think that's important to assess that.
Yeah, that'd be the very first step. Yeah. Finding out that, you know, has he been progressing along and all of a sudden something's happened and he's not moving forward, or has he been struggling all along with translating into English?
Yeah, which, like you said, be important to speak with his kindergarten teacher or even people in his family that have known him for a long time.
Right.
And what they say or their feelings or, you know, disabilities run in their family. Just finding out.
And one thing I would not suggest is keep speaking the Spanish. Do not quit speaking Spanish at home as their way of communication. That's the only way they have right now.
Right. Important to keep speaking that, to
build
on that, what he has already in his Spanish speaking abilities, to take it. Yeah.
And so then some of this, so after that's been tackled, then we want to work with mom and dad, also bring them into the picture to help by maybe providing some ESL classes for them. I know the large school districts usually provide that for the Spanish-speaking families. The smaller ones don't, but they might be able to get a waiver to send them to a larger district to participate. Mm-hmm. What else do we have?
So they can all work together and have fun practicing at home or going through it together, mom and dad learning English with their son. And, you know,
yeah, it's like a family project. They're growing through this together. They all learn English at the same time. Yeah. And so that helps not only the parents, it helps the child, because then the child also, being as young as he is, will probably pick it up a lot faster than the parents. Mm-hmm. And then he can kind of be the teacher for the parents.
Yeah, and sometimes that helps.
That helps with their ego and their self-esteem.
Yeah, when I'm teaching something to someone else, I'm learning also, or when I do the research to teach someone, it really helps me to learn the information.
It helps to ingrain it in our mapping system in our brain.
Yeah, and that teamwork is like, you know, the teamwork aside from the parents, you know, teachers, the special educators, you know, everyone, psychologists, they all need to work together as a group, as a team to, you know, make the best plan for this one student. Right. You know, and like gathering the student profile, like the background and the history of what he's learned before, and how to take that and move with that to make sure that if he does have a learning disability, that we can fix that. And if he doesn't, we can find out that he really doesn't have a learning disability, that we need to change the the environment at school and how he's getting the extra help.
Right. And then in the process of all this, there's two avenues on the third solution that we've come up with. One is if he has a learning disability, we need to put, or we feel that we think he has one, then we go the route of putting a team together to start assessing him in other areas to find out what kind of specialized plan to put together for him to keep him moving forward in learning. The other route is if we find that, or we don't feel like he's got any special needs with that, then we need to start working on putting, say, for instance, let's use the bilingual program where he is in with native English speakers and native Spanish speakers. So that way he has a mixture, and you can bring an ESL teacher in to give extra help, or you can match him with a student that's a little bit higher level on the English side to help bring him over to connect to the English.
And that student is learning Spanish, and they can help each other that way.
Yeah.
And that in-class instruction is beneficial, in the least restrictive environment, so that they're with kids that are, like you said, above their level a little bit, so that they don't feel like the lower end of the class. They build their self-esteem.
And they're not being pulled out where they get behind in classwork. Because I know that in the last Saturday thing, the review session we went through, she was talking about that. Mm-hmm. She talked about how the kids that do get pulled out for ESL, that seems to be all they focus on.
Yeah.
Is that they know they're leaving the class for this, this, and this. And then they've got work to make up, which puts extra stress on them.
They're behind with what they did in class.
Yes,
yeah. And then they're not with their regular, kids, their peers,
kids.
and their friends. And
So that's why we went with the bilingual class, to immerse them in, to put them in. So they're still in class, and let's bring the help to them to help them set the idea that they can do this and that they're building up their confidence.
Plus, even more special. I mean, like having additional. I mean, even with the in-class stuff, you could have points during the week where they could go see a specialist even more if they're struggling still. But I think that keeping them in with a normal class would be really important.
Yes.
To have that. So they don't feel more abnormal than they are in a majority language culture.
True.
So, yeah. So with the extra help, with the team of teachers and everybody working together, getting the parents involved, having them learning English as well to help their son continuing to speak the Spanish, I think it would really help him. If he, whether or not he did have a learning disability, he could still achieve, the right progression of development, that is for his level.
So, in recapping all this, the first thing is we're going to have to go in and identify and make sure, kind of get a better picture of where he is.
Mm-hmm. And by that you mean like where he lives, if the school has programs for him, or where developmentally?
The information that's been given to us is not a full picture. So we have to talk to like his kindergarten teachers and talk to, did he do preschool, early childhood?
Has he had assessments before, and in what languages, and
And that will depend on a lot of how, with the solutions that are coming up with what we just talked about, when we've made on the third solution of the two different avenues to go to, depending on how he comes out with the information, the background information that we pick up. And the second is to help bring mom and dad into the picture by providing ESL classes to them so they can all make this a family project and work on it together. And then nobody's feeling left out, whether it be in the educational area or whether it's in the home environment. And that helps to pull mom and dad into the school to feel like, oh, I can help out with this. I can go volunteer for this.
You don't want the parents to feel alienated because they can't speak English.
Right.
Everybody is trying to help the whole group. So. And
then the third one is the two avenues of, depending on if he's special needs or if he's regular. If it's regular, put him in bilingual include him in the bilingual classes and pair him up with a native English speaker, or I should say, bring in the ESL teacher also to give him that extra boost that he'll need until he gets up to level. And then the special needs side, if we feel like he's got something more going on than just what we talked about, bring in the team to start assessing for if there's any extra special needs that we need to consider him for, like autism or dyslexia or even the remedial reading, ADD.
Yeah.
And then that avenue concerns having to put together, after all the testing is done, putting an IEP together to make sure that we meet special goals for him. On your bilingual side, you will have already the goals that we're trying to bring him up to par.
I think with more information, background on his specific problems, you know, whether it's the reading and writing or the speaking or whatever he excels in, I think it, like what you said, looking into his, like the background and then, you know, if we had that, that would really be helpful to make a more specific plan.
Right, and then we know where we're going to put our efforts. Is it going to be listening, speaking, reading, or writing, depending on where he is. And they've already said that he was like an intermediate, and but we don't know intermediate in which area.
Yeah.